HyperFast show. I am so excited to have my friend Ruth here. She is incredible. She crushes it in San Francisco. What is your stats? Right now you have the top buyer agent team. You're in the top 1% of the market, and probably the person that I look to when I'm trying to figure out how to network into a different niche or how to leverage gifting, which you're an expert in. Just incredible the way you've set up your business. So I'm so excited to have you here today.
Oh my God, Keri, I'm so excited to be here because as you know, you've been my mentor and like someone I've looked up to for 5 years, a long time. So you've helped me so much grow my business and just think about things in a different way. And I couldn't be more honored to have you as a friend. So thank you for all you've done for me.
Thank you. Well, today we want to give you guys a ton of value. And so I talked to Ruth and said, there's things that I've learned from you over the years. And one of the things that has struck me from the very beginning, when we were still getting to know each other, I will never forget, we left an event and we were talking about a baby carrier, right? And I'm like, oh, I have this baby carrier and that. And she was like, ooh, but it's not as good as this one. And next thing I know, it arrives at my door. So gifting is something that you're just exceptional with. And we actually just had the opportunity to learn from the guy who wrote Giftology. So if you guys haven't read that, check that out. But I think that you naturally just crush this area. So talk to them a little bit about how you've set it up and what it's done in your business.
Awesome. Thank you. Actually, I just read Giftology myself, and I bought, I think, 25 copies of the book and sent it out to went to various business people in San Francisco and some people that I had just met through like a Compass thing, some agents that I thought could really use it. It's a beautiful book too to gift. So it just like has the hardcover has such a great weight. I like to look for gifts that feel luxurious. I think packaging is really important.
Yes.
You know, like so one of the things that we send out often is chocolates, but we send out chocolates from a company called Christopher Elbow in San Francisco. It's a local chocolatier. There's tons of them in every community. You could probably find something local to you. But what I like about it is, I mean, people send me pictures of the chocolate. They're so beautiful. So I like that the packaging, everything, when you get it, it feels very, very luxurious and beautiful. And I mean, I've had people tell me like they save them in their freezer and only take like a half a bite, and like really savor it. And, so it's just a fun, nice thing to give. And so I think where people fail with gifting is that they pick things that are really inexpensive. And I don't think that things have to be insanely expensive. Like the box of chocolates that we send out are like $30. And we send those out like for every birthday, for every anniversary, different sizes of them. If someone sends a referral, they get something right away. And so finding something that can be automated too and can help.
Yeah.
We used to have these one chocolates that I really, really liked brought into the office, and my assistant used to like hand stuff them into boxes and have to get them out. And it was very, very time consuming. I mean,
and easy to fall off when things got busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But to that point, I think it can never be on you. And this is what I hear like successful people saying all the time, like, well, I thought of sending someone a gift, but I just never did it. And I think we're all guilty of that. Like,
Totally.
I wanted to get you the baby carrier, but it processed my mind. And then I got home and got busy. Probably what I did is I probably texted Angela, who was on my team as my like lead gifter at that point. And I was like, here's the link. Get this for Keri right now. Get it over to her so that my thought immediately becomes an easier thing to get going.
Well, that's a golden nugget right there. When you're in the moment, have someone on your team that can execute whatever it is that your vision is in gifting. Yeah.
Yes. And have them be like, that needs to be like a huge part of their job. It's like her job responsibility is gifting, right? So, so we have someone who's in charge of the birthdays, the referrals, and then kind of whatever else I think of. So right now, one of the things that we've done recently is for a lot of like our VIP clients, so I have everyone categorized into all different sections.
We'll talk about that because I think how you know who to gift. I don't want you to lose your train of thought.
Yeah.
But for some people watching, they're like, oh, I have, 800 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people. If you're me, 62,000 people in your database. How do you decide who to gift at all, let alone what to give them?
Yeah, 62,000. Wow. So I just go through the CRM and I try to like categorize people. So I have top 50, which isn't really top 50. It's probably top 120 or something like that. But so there's like like basically a VVVIP for me is someone who has the ability, like a whale, to give me more than 5 deals a year in my mind. It doesn't mean that they have, but it means that they have the ability.
Sure.
So for that, I'm going to have kind of a different program in place than somebody who's a top 50. And so for a top 50, they're going to have like a different program. And then there's kind of everybody else, like any past client is always going to get certain things. So, and then you just come up with a program that somebody else can implement.
Yep.
And then, the other things are just paying attention, right? So being on Facebook and noticing like if somebody loses, a family member, like then I think really, taking some time out to send something very special. And I have like some things that I've noted over the years of like this would be meaningful, right? And so that I can really write something and like make sure that in those really important times, whether it's a death or a birth of a child or a loss of a job or something like that, that there's a little something special that's going out. And I have a long list of like, here's some go-to items.
Yep.
So that I don't have to recreate the wheel every time, but then just make sure that people are getting things.
Hey, that's a great point. We'll get right back to it. But first I wanted to talk about live events. Look, if you're listening to this podcast or watching on YouTube, then I know you value learning, getting around some of the best and most exciting, brilliant minds in the real estate industry. All right, nothing can compare though to being in the same room with them. So how would you like to get that kind of access? This November, 11th and 12th, at the HyperFast Sales Summit, we're bringing people like Ryan Serhant, Nick Baldwin, Tristan Ahumada, Ricky Caruth, Grant Wise, Tessa Bella, Christina Daves. The list goes on and on. There's just tons of amazing real estate agents, business leaders, and marketers that all bring just this level of expertise that you're not going to find in your typical real estate office or around the water cooler, wherever you're hanging out. All right, you're going to get to learn from the best of the best. And when you go to live events, 3 things typically happen. First, you learn from the best people in the world. Second, you learn from all of the real estate agents that are gathered there. And third, you benefit from the collective energy of everyone getting together. And that's exactly what I want you to do if you're listening to this show. All right, go to bit.ly/HyperFast Summit. You can also click on the link in the show notes and check out the HyperFast Sales Summit. If you want to take your real estate business to the next level and learn from the best of the best, click on the link below in the show notes or go to bit.ly/HyperFast Summit and we'll see you there.
Sure, that makes sense. So you're touching them. So you have the categories of people and what you would send if one of your, we call them whales, right?
Yeah.
One of your accounts that offers the ability to refer at least 5 a year, if they have a death in the family, you might select a different gift from that category than, or if they have a birthday, how you would treat it is a little different, right?
It could be. Like if there's somebody who I love or that's important to me that has a death, then like money is not an option, right? Like an object, right? It's like, okay, here's something that's nice and special. I don't even know how to quantify how to make like something less significant for somebody else. So it's just be like, there's kind of this set package. But for somebody who like, so the gift that I started describing, so in giftology, actually, he says don't order things with your name on them. That's a big thing. He has this whole thing about that. He's like, it's not a gift if it has your logo. I after reading that, I was like, oh, I just spent $10,000 on things with my name on it. I was like, oh. But actually, they're really, really pretty. And so I ordered like all these Yeti cups, big ones and small ones. And we created, so the Container Store has these beautiful boxes. It's the same boxes, like if you ever get something at Lululemon, that they box your stuff in for a gift. It's this beautiful glossy box. And I love to give gifts in those with like the little shredded papers. That just feels really luxurious.
So beautiful. And I've got gifts from you just like that before. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
So we put two, the big Yeti, the little Yeti, and then some Phil's Coffee, which is a local coffee, and a little handwritten note. And I had some tasks. In San Francisco, we have a lot of options for extra help. So some task rabbits, we could like get people to go and deliver those to everybody who was like a VIP.
Nice.
And people really, really liked them, and so even though they had my name on them, which they say is a no-go, but I think because it's a Yeti and it's everybody knows it's expensive.
We did branded Yetis too for HyperFast, our real estate coaching side. And they're everywhere. Like I see people drinking them on their FaceTime messages. So I think it depends. If it's like a T-shirt that has a huge logo, that doesn't feel like a gift.
Yes.
But a Yeti with a logo does feel like a gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people know it's expensive, I think. And so they're like, oh, okay, wow, this is a nice logoed gift.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
So, yeah.
And share with them, because we talked about it earlier today, the text message that you got from one of the people who had your cup.
So Monday morning, I was getting up, getting ready, and a friend of mine who's a client who's referred me a lot of business and is the CEO of a tech company in San Francisco texts me a photo of his roommate with my Yeti, and he's like, Ruth, we love your gifts. He has all 4 people. His room, believe it or not, yes, in San Francisco, CEOs have roommates.
That is a funny distinction. For many of you watching, you're like, wait, what?
And they're also like, 27 years old or 30 years old, right? So he texts me, this picture, and he's like, we all love your gifts, and we love your cutting boards, and we love your knives, and we love your chocolates. And they're all like, yeah, Ruth, thanks. And we're going to send you our goal is to send you $20 million in deals in the next few years. And I was just like, oh, that, it was super touching, because I was like, okay, it's working. It's working. Yes.
Yeah. It's affirmation that what you're doing has meaning and that they notice.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yes. That's awesome. Really cool. So for somebody out there that is not doing any gifting right now, that maybe doesn't even have an assistant, because I know you guys are out there thinking, Ruth is so cool, she can do this, Keri's so cool, she has this big team, they can do it, but I can't. What would your advice be to someone like that?
Well, I think like one of your first assistants, and people ask that all the time, right? Like, what should my first assistant do? And I think your first assistant should really be helping you organize your database, helping you set up a gifting program, and because those are the things that after you start doing massive amounts of transactions, going backwards and trying to get all that stuff set up.
Oh yeah, it's so hard.
It's awful. But if you get the groundwork early, then it's in place. You have the people, and that is the gold of the business, right?
Sure, yeah.
Is people. So being able to get repeat clients and business from past clients and make people feel appreciated. And also, to me, that's one of the gifts about being in this business, is that it is a people business, and it's really about connecting and giving and showing gratitude, which makes you feel like a whole good human.
Yeah. In general, it's really cool to feel good about yourself.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's a good business practice. So it's just weaves it all together. I mean, part of the gifting program also, now my family members are on a better program, where before I would forget them sometimes, but now I'm like, oh, I see them, and I'll try to do something a little bit extra special because they're coming up on that program.
Yeah.
So I think getting someone to help you is key. It's that's the thing in this business, is you can never do everything yourself, and if you're thinking that you're going to, you're kidding yourself. And so I think with that first hire for me, I think my first hire was $80,000 a year. We're in the Bay Area. It's probably a little bit more. So
that's $30,000 in your market. Everybody calm down.
Okay. So, but for me, I mean, our average commission on a deal is also $30,000. And so I was like, okay, this person needs to help me close 3 more deals to break even.
Yes.
And if I can't, by having those kinds of systems in place, if I'm not able to close 3 more deals, because of course they're also going to be able to do more than just that.
Right, absolutely.
Then I'm an idiot, right? So I had complete faith that we could at least get 3 more deals. So I think if you kind of look at it like that, then it helps you have the faith to make that leap.
Absolutely. That is gold also, because there's so many people out there that tell themselves, but I can't afford an assistant. I'm not ready to hire. It's not going to work for me. It works for other people, but I'm just not cut out to have an assistant. And the reality is, for you to really take great care of your clients, at some point you will need that because you'll start dropping balls. I would say setting it up as a system, even what you said, like a spreadsheet where you've already done the research and you can just click. And I think the key would be to be able to order those things online and have it be a really fast process. If you're trying to execute on your own, time blocking for gifting in your schedule, whether you're closing one transaction a month, not even one transaction a month, if you got in the habit now and systemized it, it'd be easy to pass it off to your first assistant too.
And there's so many companies that will do it for you.
Yeah.
So you just create the spreadsheet, and then once a month you update your notes and send it over, and they'll write handwritten cards for you and get it out. So there's massive amounts of companies that do that. So I'd still recommend having someone else stay on top of it.
I agree.
But it doesn't have to be this big labor even on the office.
Absolutely. Okay, so another question, and this is a loaded question because if you read Giftology, it's going to tell you that you shouldn't do this. I happen to disagree. So do you do closing gifts or gifts for your clients that you're working with in the process?
I do. So another disagreement.
Do too.
I mean, I think I love to gift for people, right? But I do think that giving like a warranty, I personally think a warranty is a little bit of a waste of money for a realtor, and a lot of people disagree.
I totally agree. If you are watching this, your people aren't like, oh, that Ruth, she
thoughtful.
was so thoughtful. She gave me a warranty.
I thought when my realtor gave me one, I thought that it was really a scam and it was probably free for her and she was just acting like it was a gift. So when I started selling real estate, I was like, oh, it actually is like $400. Like, that's a lot of money.
They don't have any clue, guys. That's not a good gift.
Yeah, just make them buy it. I mean, I just tell them, like, you really should have this. And they're like, okay. And then they buy their own warranty and they're totally happy that they bought it. So I'm not saying that warranties are not good. I think they're great. But I don't think that we should be responsible for buying them.
I totally agree.
That's
not going to leave them with a warm fuzzy.
No, like, oh. But I love to we do a branded cutting board. There's a really cool iconic map of San Francisco that I have put onto the cutting board. And then on the back, it says like, with gratitude from the Krishnan team, and it has our logo. And then I know this is actually a little bit controversial in some cultures, but because I guess in Asian cultures, knives are really a bad gift. So I try to remember that depending on who my client is. But I love to give a global knife. And Global is a company that just produces a really, really beautiful knife. It's about $100 for the knife. But I know I like to cook, and when I'm at home and you go somewhere using a crappy knife, like you're just like, oh, this is awful. And I mean, I just love a good knife. So knife on a cutting board, and then we wrap it up really beautifully and have like, a nice logo and bow, and we use wrapping paper, like I think it's Graham & Snow. It's super expensive, but it feels so luxurious. Like, I just love it. So when you hand it, it looks like this really beautiful thing, not like a, cheap afterthought.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a wonderful idea. For us, one of the aha moments I had friends that early on in my career ended up using another real estate agent because their parents engaged an agent for them, and they were kind of like on the outside of the process. And so after the whole transaction, this is somebody in my community that I really respect that's a really great real estate agent. And they said, we were at a happy hour or something, and they said, can you believe this? Our agent gave us like a $70 picture frame from Crate and Barrel. She made $21,000 of commission, and she gave us this shitty picture frame. And I'm like, ooh, okay, people are very judgy about their gift because I'm always the one that would be giving the gift. So no one, of course, would say to me, your gift sucks. So one of the things that we shifted, and this came from a coaching program that you and I were both a part of, we thought, okay, what can make the day that they're moving in feel good?
Yes.
And so we have a big gift basket and it's a reusable basket from the Container Store. And in there we put snacks, we put paper towels, we put the Clorox wipes, we put a wine opener that's branded that they get to keep. We put a keychain with the extra sets of copies of their house keys. We put tons of stuff, toilet paper, like anything think that when they get there, they're going to go, oh, I didn't think about the fact that I don't have toilet paper.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so when they come the day of, that's there, and there's a bottle of wine in there with wine glasses.
And you do pizzas too, right?
We also do pizzas, and a lot of our clients are gluten-free, so sometimes we do like Thai food, or we'll call and check on them, and that's when we have someone outside of the transaction that's doing that, and they're asking about how everything went. So if there's anything that they're not pumped about, we know it and we can address it instead of just letting it go.
Yes.
Which we didn't have a way of checking on that before. But here's the biggest key. So then the agent is also giving them a separate gift sometimes. Those are the gifts that are from the team. But when I thought about the mindset, which John, the giftology person, addressed this, he said they're expecting things when you're closing out the transaction. They're not expecting, for us, we have a moving truck they can use. We have another truck they can use if there's anything else they need to pick up. We have the gift basket, then their agent will gift them, and then we're doing the dinner. But then we said, okay, well, what do they need? So we also give them a stamp, and that comes later, 2 weeks later in the mail.
I love that.
So what we want them to know is we're not going anywhere. We're not going away.
Yeah.
And they're expecting, if they thought it was closed up and we're saying we're going to have this ongoing relationship, it's really important to us that they keep receiving from us very quickly after they close.
I love that. Yeah. We started doing the pizzas this year too, and I have to say, like, I think we spend usually it's like $50 or $75. Although a client asked me the other day, she's like, do I have a budget? And I said, no, girl, whatever you want. It's, anything. And so I don't remember what it was, but whatever. It was no big deal.
She went with caviar instead of the pizza.
But people love it. They're floored by it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, thank you so much for thinking of me on this day. And people have been writing it into almost every Yelp review they write. They're like, and she even bought us pizza on our moving day. And I'm like, oh my God, it makes me feel so good that something so small makes them so happy.
Totally.
So I love that. Another gift that we started doing, I think, it was in that book, Giftology. I think he talks about the law of reciprocation, right? About giving anything. And he talks about the Baha'is and how they give the flower. And then, is that book, right? I think it might be.
So I haven't actually read the book, but it's in my list now that I actually heard Dan read it.
Okay.
And so Dan would always be like, well, we shouldn't be gifting at this time. And I'm like, I still want to gift then and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this law of reciprocation, I started with the Yeti. So we have this beautiful bag that everyone keeps telling me looks like Chanel. So it's white and it has my logo on it in black. And so I throw a Yeti in there. I throw a pad of Ruth Krishnan team paper. There's like a chip clip with our thing on it. And then a couple of brochures. And I bring it to my listing presentations and my buyer meetings.
Ooh.
So interestingly enough, part of what I talk about in a listing presentation is one of the most important jobs of a listing agent is marketing. And let me show you how amazing we market. And then we're talking, so it's we have this and then we're showing all of the stuff how we're marketing.
It's the touch and feel of what you're capable of.
Yeah. And then as they're thinking, I hope when they're interviewing other agents, they're sitting there with my cup.
She has a vision of how it goes. That's smart.
I love it. So, we just started doing that. I'm really excited about it.
One cup or two?
I just bring one.
Okay.
Because it's I don't think, I'm also worried about throwaway. I don't think people probably want two things with my name on it, but one is probably good.
Yeah.
So I think that's fun, and we'll see. How I feel it's making an impression on people. People are like, wow, because it's being different, really going a step ahead of your competition. And they're like, nobody else brought me this, right?
Yeah.
So anyway.
I love that.
Yeah.
So smart. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today. I really appreciate it. And for everybody, I hope you took something out of that, some golden nuggets that you can implement in your business. If you have any questions for Ruth or for myself, just comment below, give us a quick like, and share this with someone that it might help them change their business too. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching our video. I hope you liked it. Give it a quick like below and comment and share. We'd love your feedback. For more videos like this, click here. And to subscribe, click here.